Hey guys, this is Alex. Thanks for coming back to my channel. I have my good friend Adam here with me on video, and we wanted to get together and talk about his experience and his exportation of his Supra from Australia years ago. In what year did you do it?
2020. It was actually Valentine's Day. I sent a
Valentine's
check.
Day. Hey,
Yeah, that
honey.
was yeah, that was
By the way.
honestly not the move in hindsight, to be honest.
Yeah, so back in 2020, Adam exported a Supra from Australia. He got it brought in through the standard customs channels that I'm going to have to go through eventually to import my Sylvia. And I wanted to get him on the channel just to talk about that and some of the fees that he paid, some of the processes that he went through, and some of the gotchas that maybe that he experienced that I will end up experiencing on my own. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's
you got this car and exported it, and you got it on Valentine's Day, or you told your
no,
wife on Valentine's Day?
well, she knew about it because I had been on and off looking, and the only way that I could really afford it was the Australian cars, because at this point, even in 2020, people had started catching on with the Japanese cars.
Right.
So I feel like Australia was still pretty untapped.
Is that why you went with Australia? Just because of the fact that because you probably like was it your preference to go with an Australian version? I
No,
mean, would you
no,
have
not.
gone with the Japanese version
I
if you?
mean,
Because I don't know Supras as much as you do. So I mean, yeah.
no, it's the Japanese version imported to Australia.
Okay. Right. Right.
So as far as I know, like all these Supras were imported from Japan to them. I
Wow.
mean, I know mine was like in the early 2000s is when mine was. That's why they have all kinds of like you've talked in your previous videos about like the car VX and stuff like that.
Right.
So they have those reports, but mine isn't on those reports because it was exported too early. So I tried to get like information from Japan
Hmm.
about like the history of my car because I was like kind of curious about it. And then that didn't work. So then I tried to get it through like Australian channels. They have like a similar like Carfax type thing in Australia. There's nothing on there. So it's just this like, who knows?
When you, I mean, because you bought the car, you it was readily available to export. You didn't have to store it all or anything like that. So
No, no, it was already in 93, so it was ready to go. I was kind of dead set on a chaser. I was going to get a JZX 100
mhm.
chaser. I was like, this is what I want. I had just sold my Aristo, and then I was like, well, I've kind of always wanted a Supra,
I
and
love that. I kind of always wanted a Supra.
well, I did. Like, it was always like a thing, like in my life, where I was
Right.
like, I just want to buy one of these. This guy kept sending me Supras. I know the way that I did this was
Lenny.
not Lenny, which Lenny was good to me, to be honest. You know, he worked well with me, but at the same time, the way I went about it was stupid, and I easily could have gotten scammed.
If some of you check back in my previous video, you'll see if you go to the Facebook group, the I Got Scammed by Shady JDM Exporters, you'll find posts about Lenny. He's actually in there posting too, and he's still working today. So if you want to check out Lenny Davis,
Now, Lenny was,
yeah,
I mean, from a communication standpoint, really
yeah,
good. He represented the car as best he could. I'm pretty sure he was in America, and the car was in Australia, so
right.
he had all, he was like a middleman in the entire thing. Um, but also when I brought up like condition issues with him, he ended up like PayPaling me money back, which I thought was like a pretty cool thing.
Wow.
Because there was like stuff in the inspection that I was like, I don't know who's doing this inspection, but like a window not working. Like, dude, that's not mentioned.
Right.
That's like so
Kind of
basic. Like
big.
you get, well, it's like it's dumb, but it's like, okay, like that's something to know.
Yeah.
This one, it was cheap. I mean, the car itself was 10 grand, 10,250 or something like that. Shipping was
Wow.
40. Yeah. So,
That's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
For
So,
an NA Supra compared to what they are for today, the
yeah.
price
So
comparison.
it was
Only
like,
a few years, right? The difference.
yeah, I mean, it was crazy. But that's the thing is I was looking at a $20,000 Chaser or a $10,000 Supra, and shipping was
Yeah.
the issue. And, it just seemed to make sense to me. So I sent a check off. It was like the Colorado. That was the other part of it too. I literally, so Valentine's Day, 2 14
Isn't he in
2020.
Texas or is he in Colorado?
I don't know. I sent it to Colorado, but I thought he was in Texas. But and
Great.
I got, I did like your same thing where you
Yeah.
were like, having a total anxiety attack about wiring the money and stuff like that. I think I like next dayed a check like a bank check because I don't know, something about the wiring thing I was like just not into, or there was a fee or something, and I'm cheap. So
Yeah.
I was like, I can do this for cheaper. So then, I did that. Like I said, $10,250 was the car, 4,500 was the shipping. It was
So
pretty.
when you bought it, like
And
Lenny
then he
just
had a
kind of
fee.
took care
Then
of
he
it.
had
Well, yeah, he had like a export fee
500.
type of thing.
Oh, I think his was like $500 or something.
Okay. But he didn't give you like the breakdown of like what the shipping was and
Well,
like
yeah.
what maritime insurance was and like
And I'm going to be honest with you right now. I don't think there was maritime insurance. I don't think there was anything. I never asked about it. I was
stick
never
around a
told
boat and
about
good
it,
luck.
dude. Yeah. And the best part was when it came through, because I had it delivered in Baltimore,
Hmm.
and when it came through there, um, well, it had to go like through the Panama Canal and everything, and go through the Gulf of Mexico, and because of that, there was like hurricanes and stuff,
Oh my.
and like it was going in like Alabama, like right when my car was there, and I was like, oh, like I've waited so long for this thing to
Right.
come here from Australia. I'm like, and this cannot happen now.
How long did it take, by the way? Because I
Ugh.
hear like always different opinion. Like I always hear different people say
Well,
different things. Where it's like, oh yeah, you'll have it in a couple weeks, and then some people just like months later.
mine was really complicated by COVID as well,
Hmm.
because,
Oh right,
a
that was the
couple
year.
months later, the time it took was rough because, COVID. And so I picked the car up, I believe, on June 6th of 2020. So I paid for it. I don't know exactly like when it got shipped, but I'm saying
Hmm.
from the time that I paid for it, which was 2/14/20, and then I picked it up on 6/6/20.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, that is a lot longer than anyone I've heard about their shipping and their
Yeah, I mean
experience so far. Well, clearly it's improved then over time, but
it also went
um,
really far too. I mean, it went from Australia to the United
yeah,
States and
right,
also the East Coast. So, that's a thing. I knew I did not want to bring a car in and go from Washington again, because I was like, that drive is
right.
too much, especially in a car that like you don't know anything about. I mean, even an 8 or 9 hour drive from Baltimore is too much,
Right.
but
Yeah, it's huge risk to like just you could break down and it's like what now? Especially
yeah,
because a
well,
lot of those parts you can't get in the United States. So I
yeah.
mean, granted with the 2JZ and whatnot, totally, but even then, like there isn't really a lot of 2JZs on the road. Like what is the IS 300 had a two was that a
And
2JZ?
and GS 300s.
Yeah, so sure there's a little bit and you could probably find some local parts that could help you, but I mean there probably is going to be some downtime or a Toyota dealership or some shipping time involved. Like if you break down you're kind of screwed and you end up getting towed or something.
Yeah, well then you need to just do like domestic shipping, and you're gonna take the
Hmm.
hit for that really either way. But yeah, I mean, I risked it. I did it for like $300. That was
Right.
like my whole thing. Because I just didn't want to pay for somebody to ship it because I'm cheap. So that goes back to that. Car to Baltimore, $10,250 for the car, 4,500 plus $500 fee that I paid
That
to him.
seems more than what
And I can,
Jeremy told me. So Jeremy from
usually I think
Zap.
it's like 200.
Yeah, so I mean, so what from what I found, I'm gonna link this in the video, in the description below, because I found an article today that was actually came out a couple weeks ago from Medium that somebody put together that Keith Lang put together, importing a JDM car into the USA, a comprehensive guide. Just came out a couple weeks ago, and he kind of breaks down a lot of the documentation we are talking about that you need, and some of the fees that you need. Um,
Oh, it's all backwards too. I know that's not going to help.
and some of the step-by-step process of what you need to do in order to import a car. One of the things he talks about like right off the bat is going to be, which we can get into, is going to be containers. And if you're going with a
Hmm.
ro-ro ship or if you're going to go with a container. Do you even know how yours was transferred or
Yeah,
shipped? Or was
mine
it
mine was roll on, roll off.
okay? And containers are exponentially more expensive from what I hear. I did a
Yeah.
little like Google searching to see like what that cost difference is, and it's somewhere between like a Roro ship can cost like like sub $500, and then a container could be anywhere from like $500 to like $2,000 depending on what you go with. So
Yeah, and I
um
mean, the people at the port, that's the biggest problem. And the people who put your
yeah,
cars on and off, they take stuff out of them.
yeah, I've heard that too.
There's no gas in my car. It's not,
Was your battery dead?
oh yeah.
That's
And
one
they've
thing
got,
that Jeremy does. He replaces the battery before he sends off every car, which is super cool.
and they've got a fee for that too when
Probably.
once you're in there,
Oh, they have a
because
fee for starting the car.
no, it's a fee for jumping your car because they have
Okay.
to. So the port is controlled by TSA because, it's things coming into our country.
Mhm.
So TSA controls the whole thing. So it's not like it's a security clearance area. So me, like an idiot, I, was like, oh, I can go pick up my car now. I Ubered there. We like roll up to the security station with an Uber driver, right? And they're like, yeah, no. Like they kept saying, do you have, so they roll up. I'm like, yeah, I'm like here to pick up my car. I've got nothing. Like I've literally got my phone, right? I don't have anything printed. I've got literally nothing. When I rolled up, they're like, do you have a TWIC card? And I'm like, a TWIC? I have no idea what you're saying. Like I literally don't even know what this means. Like I didn't understand them. Like I legitimately did not understand they were even saying TWIC to me.
Mhm.
And I believe it's TWIC is the name of
Yes.
like the security clearance that you need.
Transportation Worker Identification Credential.
So I roll up in an Uber, have literally nothing. They have like a pre-printed sheet there at the port that they're like, this is for idiots. So they hand it to me, and it's like this like poorly like photocopied thing. And
This is for
it's
idiots.
yeah, and it's like you need to talk to one of these escort companies
Customs port for newbies.
basically, but it's like very hard to read, and there's like 5 companies on there, and it says like you need one of them to escort you into the port. And
Oh, really?
so
Wow.
so I have the Uber driver just drop us off on the side of the road, literally like outside of the security gate, and then I like call one of the escort companies that's on the printout that they gave me, and I'm like, hey, I need to go get my car. And they're like, and it's like at this point it's like 11, right?
Hmm.
11 in the morning. And so they're like, okay, well just come over here and we'll like talk through it, whatever. So I go over there. It's like a gravel parking lot with a mobile home, like a just a trailer, like a
Yeah.
a trailer in it. That's it. And there's like a window on the side of the trailer, and you're like, hey, and they're like, hey, they're like, you need to go in and get your car. And they're like, well, it's by the time I got over there, it was like 11:15, 11:30, something like that. And they were like, well, they go on lunch, and they go on lunch from like it was some obscene thing. They're like, it's like from like
2 hours.
11:30 to 2:30 or something, and they're like, and nobody does anything. So like we either need to they're
Oh
like, we
my
either need to
god.
like get in there now. And so the other part of the trick, or like the catch with it all, is that the escort people at the time, it was $75 an hour for them to get you in there.
Wow.
So then I'm like, and I mean, trust me, like went into it knowing like I was gonna get bent over like somehow,
Yeah, yeah.
like, but
You didn't know how
anyway,
bent over you were about to get.
but what he's explaining to me, and I guess I appreciate, is that he's like, I'll take you in there, but he's like, they're
Mm.
gonna go on lunch and you'll sit in there for like 3 hours and just get nothing done. So I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So we waited in this gravel parking lot. It's Baltimore. It's June. It's 100 degrees. We're on just a picnic table in the middle. It's me and my dad. And my dad was like, I'll go with you. And I was like, it's like the height of COVID is everything bad.
Oh, just roasting outside for three
Yeah, it's
hours.
like 100 degrees. We're just there. We have no food, no water, just nothing. Then I'm also simultaneously on the phone with the customs people who I told in advance that I would be there. Transmark Customs Brokers. That's the people that I used. They're
TCB,
based
taking
in
care of business.
taking care of business. And I believe the guy's name was Alex
Really?
because I was just in this gravel parking lot, like extremely bothered based on just the heat and everything. And I was
Yeah.
like, I need this paperwork in the next 5 minutes and it needs to be in my email now. Like you've had since February because you have to have the declaration saying it's being shipped over here.
Right.
So the customs company is in at the very beginning. So I'm like, you've had since then, since February to have this paperwork. Like, get it together. I need it now.
Yeah.
Then the escort people, they printed it out for me, which was cool. So then I had the paperwork section figured out, and that kind of helped in that 3 hour window that I was waiting. Then the escort worker person, the guy took me in. He was like a retired dude, and he's like, "Yeah, I just do this like it's so easy." Like, okay, literally like his
$75
truck.
an hour, baby.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is he? He has a trailer in a parking lot. I mean,
Yeah.
the overhead is like non-existent. Anyway, so Um, so he just like takes me in his like personal truck and has the card, to get in and all that.
Right.
So he takes me in, and then there's like it. I mean, I would have if they would have let me in. I don't think there ever would have been a way I would have gotten my car out of there based
It's
on
just
the
like a
size.
maze, or it's just
Yeah, it's like a maze, and then like where you drop off paperwork is not anywhere near where my car was.
right.
So like I don't know, and there's no like signage or anything. I mean, it's not like literally there was like the guy rolled up to a random like trailer that had people working inside of it, and there's like a slot that's like literally just the size of my paperwork, like 8.5 by 11, like a slot.
Yeah.
And the dude literally like takes my customs paperwork. There's no person that you talk to either. And I don't know if this is because of like COVID or what,
Right.
but it was literally just a slot in the side of a trailer with no person that you even talk to. And I see him, and he would walk up, and
This
he's
is the
like,
paperwork that you can't lose, right? In order to like
Ye-
register
that
your
yes,
car. He just shoves it in a
like
trailer.
dude, all of it, like all of the most important paperwork for this thing, and he
Right.
literally puts it in this one slot, and he's like, "Okay, we're good." And I'm like, is are we? This is real? And I'm like totally along for the ride, so I just can't even. And my dad's roasting in a parking lot out there,
Yeah.
so like, and I'm paying $75 an hour, so I'm like, like I
Whatever you
gotta
need to
kind of,
do.
yeah, like whatever. At this point, I was so out of my control that I was like,
Hmm.
whatever. Because after we do the paperwork part of it, he drives me over to where the car's at, and the car, you know, it's I roll up to it. It's got like I see like exhaust in the back of it, and I'm
Okay.
thinking to myself after I'm like terrified because I'm thinking of like all the stories where they like people do lowered cars and they like mess them up from roll on roll off shipping.
Right. Because
That's
as
like a
we
thing.
should say that you have to most of these cars, if they're lowered, they get raised up super high.
Yeah.
So they don't, because they're obviously these boats and the way the ramps are, that you could really bottom out your car.
And my car was on stock suspension. And the other thing
Hmm.
that they always talk about with these type of shipping things is they don't allow you to put stuff in the car because I know people
Right.
sometimes will want to like send stuff with it
Like
and they're not cool with
parts with
that.
them. Yeah.
So I was
Hmm.
like, oh God, like what has happened here?
Great.
So I roll up. I like first thing I do is I like look under the car and I'm like, oh, like there's exhaust on it. So I was like, okay, that's good. I was like, I thought there was, but anyway, I was like, okay, problem one, that's solved. Then I look in the back because I can't see anything out of the back because the exhaust is back there, and it's just the
Hmm.
stock exhaust. Somebody included it, which is cool, I guess, because I ended up using it because I
Yeah.
have it on my car now. I had the keys because I don't know, they keep the keys. They must have given me the keys.
Hmm.
So then I opened the car, battery's dead. Um, then I was like, okay, well, next step, we got to get this thing like started. So the guy's like, he's like, we're not allowed. The escort dude's like, we're not allowed to jump it. Blah blah blah. You have to have one of the lot people like jump your car.
Which is
And he's
so
like,
ridiculous.
I don't know how long that's gonna take. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna talk to him. I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to get over here. And I was like,
$75 an hour. He knew what he was doing.
that's the thing. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'll give you $50 cash right now to jump my car. And
Oh.
he was like, okay. So
That was easy.
yeah. So I was like, give him the $50, but then the other problem is I don't have jumper cables.
Right.
And he is not going to help me out there. So there's another dude picking up a Mark IV Supra at the same time. It's a gray one. It's from the UK, and he had it shipped over. He was a prepared person. He had
Hmm.
like tools, jumper cables, and so he had tried to start it to because he was like, it was told it ran and drive, blah blah blah. I was like, this thing does not look like a running and driving car. And so he hooks up the battery, and immediately it's just a security system just being like,
Oh
and just
no.
it like he has no fob, nothing. There's no way he's
Wow.
getting this thing unless he like completely removes it now.
Yeah.
There's no way he was doing anything. So he's like, I can't get this on the trailer on my own. So we like teamworked it, and I said, I'll help you get it on the trailer if you give me your jumper cables. So,
Nice.
so,
You're
so,
just haggling in the port.
literally in there just for my life. So, so yeah, it was crazy. We once again 100 degrees outside, just open blacktop parking lot. Just got to be 120 degrees there.
Oh my.
I'm pushing this dude's car. Yeah, and because of my stature, I'm obviously the one out back pushing it, and he's in it. So
So just a trail of tears.
yeah, just that's it. And so we get his loaded up. He's like doing the straps. I grab the jumper cables, jump my car. It's got no gas in it, just like literally E. I'm like, is this gonna even make it out of here? Like
Yeah.
what? Like next problem. And
Oh
then
my.
I'm trying to like get the window down. This is where the window situation comes into play because the driver's side window didn't roll down,
Right.
and it's 100 degrees. This car's been baking out there. I'm like, the exhaust is in the back, and I can't like lower the seat or do anything. So like nothing is working, and I'm like, I just got to get the fuck out of here. So I like as quickly as the guy that because the escort guy has to like take me back out. So I was like we got to get going. I don't know with gas and all that. I don't know what the deal is. I just like hightailed it out of there, like literally as fast as I could. Didn't look at anything. Hauled it out of there
Got
straight to
out
a
as
gas station.
yeah, get some gas.
Yeah, and I got the gas. I picked up my dad first because I had to
I'd
like
hope so.
because well he was just in that parking lot
He's just
for like
out there baking, just
he spent like literally 5 hours in the parking lot. And I felt awful. I felt awful because like I try people, and you will probably experience this with your car too. People think that going cross country to pick up cars is a fun thing,
I'm not
and
doing
they
that. I am not doing that.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, other people
Yeah.
sometimes think that, oh, you're gonna buy this car from here and you're gonna go get it, and like we could,
Hmm.
make it, it'll be fun. It's a
Right.
nightmare. I mean, it's horrible. Um, but it's one day, It's like
Yeah.
that's kind of where I get it from.
Out
Is
of the
like,
rest of your life, it's one day in hell.
yeah, like one awful day where I'm just gonna spend 24 hours in misery, right? And that's really my big hang up with the West Coast is that it's
Mhm.
more than a day of misery in your life. It's like
Yeah.
2 days. Yeah, I got
Did you
that, and
did you
then
drive straight back then afterwards? I mean, did you stay anywhere or get some rest? I don't really remember the experience you had. And
no, no, I
so
mean,
you had just been outside all day baking, dealing
yeah, I
with this
stopped and
whole
got
thing.
Mexican food.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I felt I felt so bad for my dad that I was like my dad loves Mexican food.
Right.
He loves the environment of the Mexican restaurant. He loves the just friendly people, margaritas,
Hmm.
tequila, chips and salsa, everything.
Chips and salsa.
So I found the very first picture that I took of my car was literally in that Mexican restaurant. It was, like some crummy, like, it was not great, but,
Yeah.
and just hit the road and then
Wow.
drove straight 9 hours. And, by the time I got to like Chicago, I was like falling apart. I
I
was
want
like,
to
oh,
die.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, it must have been like 3 or 4 in the morning. My dad was passed out. My dad was like, he's so uncomfortable in there. And I felt bad for him. But yeah, then I got back. And then the best part of the entire story, I got back, parked it. I had a son. Well, my son was born in April.
Mhm.
So May, June, I had like a 2.5 month old,
Right. Oh my God,
which
that's
is
right.
just another awful part of it that I had just been gone for the whole day. And then, as soon as I show up, it's like, okay, like you got to be helping out. So I literally park my car, I get back, try to help my wife out. You know, I'm falling apart because I haven't slept at all. So I'm just like a mess. The next day, I leave it in my driveway. I was like, I'm gonna wash it, and then, like I'm not driving this thing. I've driven it enough. Like that's
Yeah,
it. And so the next day I go and the car won't run right.
it won't run right.
No, like literally, I'm like, I drove this thing 9 hours and it wouldn't like shift. It wouldn't go over like 20 miles an hour. And I'm
Oh no.
like, and of course my wife's like, you're an idiot. I,
What is this piece of crap you just bought?
yeah, like
Oh my
I literally
god.
just problem free drove this thing
Yeah.
9 hours after getting off of a boat for who knows how many months.
And you wake up, it's in limp mode.
Yep, won't go at all. It was the
That's
ECU. I
amazing.
had like, they have ECU problems with older Toyotas, but
I remember that now. You had to
yeah,
send it in, right, to get your ECU
I did. The
fixed
best part
up.
was too that it was right around the time of the AMA, the
Yeah, and you wanted
motorcycle
to
thing at Road
drive the
America.
car because you had just gotten it and you want to show it off and whatnot, but you
Yeah, yeah.
couldn't.
So I stayed
Yeah.
up with Stefan and we did like general maintenance because I was assuming that it was just like, something gave up. And we
Mhm.
just did like distributor cap, rotor, spark plugs, wires,
A
valve cover
classic 90s
gaskets.
tune-up.
Yeah, just like general stuff.
Right.
And it was the freaking ECU. So
Yeah.
that car didn't work right for another like month and a half. It just barely ran ever since I brought it home. But I was super thankful it made the 9 hour drive.
Yeah. Wow.
There was like one time where it sputtered out of a gas station after I got gas on the way home.
Hmm.
And I was like, huh, that's weird. And then we just kept driving. And I was like, dude, imagine if I had stopped and just let this thing cool overnight or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
That would
It
have been
must have
it.
just been what was because it's just like the solder on the board just what probably what got
Yeah.
warm and then eventually just cooling down it broke loose and you wasn't able to communicate and that's
Yeah, but
crazy. Well, you
that's the
got real
whole,
lucky there because then you would have been big tow bill. Exactly
yeah,
what you're talking about. And
yeah,
that's
that
the
would have
thing.
been
Like
bad.
I don't want to go down that road. I just want to pay the extra money, have someone send it to me, and that's kind of where I was confused about. You said you got a customs broker,
Hmm.
so at what point did the customs broker facilitate the process? Because it seemed like you did everything, at least from my
Well,
point of view.
they had all the paperwork done for me to pick the car up from the port.
Okay,
So they did all the paperwork for the port stuff, which I had no idea how to do.
okay.
So
So they
that was
handle
sort
the
of my,
customs broker handles the documentation to be brought for the into the custom into the port and
yes.
then for them to be accepted so it can be picked up period.
Yeah, because
Okay,
that was the part that I was not comfortable with was like
right.
filling out a bunch of standardized forms that I've never done before. I was like, well, this is going to go wrong somehow. And for 550 bucks,
Right.
was it really worth it? I'd rather have that peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
So,
this document or this article that was written just to go through, he wrote down that you needed an importer security filing, an EPA form 35
hmm,
20. You mentioned that one, a
yep,
CPB form 7501. Not sure what that is. Department of Transportation HS
yeah.
7
It,
7
and
short form.
that's that NHTSA or whatever. That's the one that I was
That
talking
makes
about.
sense. And then a bill of sale, the export certificate, original title. The Japanese cars don't have original. They don't have titles.
No, but you'll get a lot of times they put them like in the glove box. There's like a standard thing that they do where it has that chain of ownership because that's what
Okay.
you need to show when you register your car here. That's like the most important part of it. I've had hang-ups actually with both of my cars. With the Supra, it got all screwed up because and I had registered everything all on my own, but it had got messed up because there was no chain of ownership and they thought that Lenny was the person who owned it. So it was like all
Oh.
messed up. So they were trying to get me to get a bonded title and I told them like absolutely not. I wasn't going to get a bonded title. Um,
What's the
and
significance of that? Is it just a massive expense then or to
well, a bonded title is a thing for like 10 years. I think it's 10 years. I mean, I'm not an expert on this at all, but
okay.
you have to have a special kind of insurance when you have a bonded title.
Mm.
So that costs more money right off the bat. You have to have some sort of weird insurance for it. And And then on top of it, it's like there's a time period where people, like if somebody else owned it and they popped up, like then it's theirs.
Really?
Yeah, like
So
there's
it's
like
like
a
a
legal,
squatter?
well, it's not like a squatter thing. It's like a way of if there's no trail of paperwork for a car for a
Mm.
previous owner that like was like, well, I never sold this. Like if it got stolen or something,
Ah,
it's like a way to for them to get their own property back. And
wow.
because you have no way of proving it, you have to like do this. Yeah, so I had to get like registration paperwork from Australia. This was like way after the fact too. I don't even know when I got the car in June. I'm sure I didn't register it for like another year because that's just the way I usually do things.
Well, so on top of just based off of the document, on top of that, there's the additional fees that they charge you. Probably these fees were probably packaged into your customs broker charge. They
Yeah,
said
that's
there's informal entry or formal entry, pretty much a harbor maintenance fee and then a processing fee.
yeah, here's what
Um,
I paid. I paid duty consolidated. I don't know
Duty
what that
fee,
is.
which is like what 2.5% of the vehicle, the purchase cost of the vehicle, which
I
was
paid 25.56, $25.56.
that makes sense because your
I
car
paid
was 10,250.
10, yeah, 250 or 10,200.
Yeah, so $256 is 2.5% of that
Oh no, this is $25.56.
for a duty fee. That seems a little
It says it says duty consolidated.
duty consolidated. Okay.
So I don't know. And then it says broker entry fee was $125. EPA reporting was $20. And then NHTSA reporting was another $20. Ocean DDC fees paid. I don't know what Ocean DDC fees paid are, but that's $167.45.
Destination delivery charge.
And then importers security filing was 45 bucks. ISF bond fee, another 45 bucks. And then single transaction bond fee, $105. So who knows? There's probably somebody out there that's like, this dude got totally hosed by this place because they're like, I could have done that for $4 and
Yeah,
what,
right.
but the other part of it, I had never shipped a car from a foreign country to the United States before, and I wanted to make sure the paperwork was right.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that it also came from Australia, so I wonder if there's some different charges compared to from Australia to Japanese, but I don't know. I mean, because
Yeah.
I
The
haven't
other,
seen anything about the ocean DDC fees or so how'd you pick your customs broker?
I think that was like a Lenny thing.
It was a Lenny thing? Okay. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
saw
he,
there's like an actual website where there's a broker listing straight from the US Customs and Border Protection. And there's just pages
yeah, a
of
million.
brokers and it's like how do you choose? So the one thing I was going to ask you is if you ever did price out shipping from the port to your house. Like, did you ever look at that option to see how much that would cost to have it delivered just to your door?
No, I mean, I kind of knew because I had shipped, I mean, I had done like worst case scenario. I had shipped the Cressida from
Okay.
California. So I already
Okay.
knew what I was kind of getting myself into from coast to coast because, I mean, it's tough. It's different. You live in Chicago.
Right.
That's a major
Major hub.
city.
Right.
Yeah, where everybody in the Midwest goes there. Going to Milwaukee is not something that people want to do. I knew it was going to be expensive. I mean, it'd probably be, I mean, my guess if I had somebody do the whole thing, probably 15, 1,700 bucks.
Yeah, I imagine it would be around like 1,500 to 2 grand somewhere in there to go
Yeah,
from
uh,
a
I
coast
think
to the Midwest.
that's a realistic
So
amount. I knew I didn't want to do that. I also was like, this thing is a non-turbo automatic car. It's like a Camry. Like this thing's got to go. Like it's got to go, right? I was like,
right.
it's
It'll
it's not like
drive, no
yeah,
problem.
like I was like, this is like a Toyota, dude. Like, and after the Aristo thing from Tacoma, like this one's got to make it because this one's in better shape than that other one. I
Little
took
did
a
you know you were in for
I
quite
took
the
a six
day.
thousand dollar I took a $6,000 car, 2,000 miles, never driven it
Right,
ever before.
right.
Yeah, so
If you were to do it again, what would you do? Would you get it shipped?
yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I think I'd
Would you
probably
ever
go pick
import
it
a
up.
car again? That's
I would definitely import a car again. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely, like I said, I mean, I tried to give you as many tips as possible
yeah,
because, like, when I did it, there just wasn't, none of our friends did it. Nobody, I was like the first one that, that I knew
yeah.
to
You're the only
do it.
one that I know
Yeah.
that did it. So,
So,
So thank you very much, Adam, for jumping on with me. If you want to check out his car, he's got a YouTube channel. His channel name is JDM Car. He has our friend Sam as well on there. They work on their cars together. And what are you working on right now with your car?
I'm doing
What's your
the
current video project that you're trying to complete?
manual tunnel. I'm ripping apart on my interior, which is just one of my least favorite things to do, but I'm doing it to make
Manual
my car
tunnel.
nicer. Yeah. And then
Manual
we're going to be
tunnel.
working on Sam's stuff because
Very
Sam's
nice.
got lots of stuff to work on.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this video, and I hope this helped out with anyone looking to import their car. If you have any questions or comments regarding importing, I'd be happy to answer if I can, and I'll bug Adam if we have any questions that he can answer as well. So if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.